I have a beautiful piece of olive wood. This comes from viewer Dennis, who has moved to Florence, Oregon a few years ago, and we spent many vacations in Florence riding our quads in the dunes, and that is just a blast. So we know all about Florence, but it's about 7.5 by 7 and 3.5 inches thick. I put a flat spot in the hole for a worm screw. I'm going to turn it just like this and see what happens. So let me get this mounted up. Alright, I've got the lathe turning about 170 RPM in case you've ever wondered what speed we might do this at. And I'm just going to hold it here until it tightens up to that point right there. Lock the spindle, a couple turns, and we're tightened up. So I think I might knock some corners off of here just to see how it feels, but we have a very, very sick cat. They think they fixed the problem, but we got to get him to eat. So we have to kind of convince him it's time to eat, and it's not easy. So let me cut a few corners on this, and that's it for the day. Alright, I've got it all set up, and surprisingly I'm doing 670 RPM, so it's very well balanced. And like I said, I'm just going to do a little bit of turning here. Alright, I had to stop and cut those corners off and put a glove on. Those pieces were coming off like shrapnel. Wow. One of them hit me right there and it did not feel good. So I'm going to wear a glove. At least until we get it rounded. About 715 RPM. Alright, that's it. This has got to be the hardest piece of olive wood I've turned. But look at this. Is that going to be nice or what? Okay, see you sometime tomorrow afternoon. Alright, I'm back out here. Just sharpened up the 5/8 bowl gouge again. And try to get some shape on this bottom. This wood is very hard. Look at that though, it's really got some nice colors. I'm not sure if it's showing up in this lighting, but it is very colorful. Well, I think if we maybe take a little bit more off, we'll have that shape that we need. Alright, I moved the camera a little bit and I changed the lighting settings. You can see the color in that wood a lot better this way. Alright, let's cut some more here. I do see a crack that comes here, comes down there. Don't know what it's going to do until we cut some of it away. Well, I kind of like that. It's almost flat. Might take a little bit more off and call that good. There. Pretty much what I'm going to go with right there. So let's get this marked for a recess, and we'll cut it in and clean this up and sand it. Alright, I'm going to switch to a 1/2-inch bowl gouge for cutting that recess. I grab my dovetail tool and we'll cut a dovetail on it. Okay, that should do it. Alright, I just have a little step right here. We need to clean that up, and then we can get it sanded and put a coat of sealer on there. Doing 795 RPM 1/2-inch bowl gouge. Okay, I think that will do it. Alright, I've got it all set up to do some sanding, and I have this set up. It's a 2-inch disc with 120 grit. Even though there's a spot right there that might need 80, but sometimes a really hard wood, the finer grit like a 120 will actually do a better job than 80, because the 80 is just kind of bouncing off of it. This will get a hold of it and it'll sand it. So I'm going to move my intake here and we'll turn it on. Have the lathe running in reverse about maybe 280 to 300, and we'll sand it up to 400 and come back and put a finish on it. Okay, time to put some finish on it. And this is shellac base sanding sealer. And just look at how that popped out of there. Wow, even the sapwood has got a lot of color in it. There's some cracks in there, but I don't plan on filling them. They don't look like they're going to be an issue, and half the time, or more than half the time when you fill them, it looks pretty obvious and doesn't look as good as just leaving it alone. So that's it right here. I'll get another coat of sealer on it for sure, and then we'll get it flipped around. And I may put the shellac on at the same time on the, and when I do the inside I can do the outside as well. Okay, see you when it's flipped around. Okay, it's the next day. I got kind of late start, but I'm still hoping I can at least get this hollowed out and maybe get a coat of sanding sealer on it. So I'm going to start with a 1/2 inch bowl gouge. We're doing 795 RPM. Okay, gained a little bit. Raise that up a tad. Alright, let's have a look. Okay, that's looking pretty decent. I'll put a little light on this. There. Okay, we're just starting to find some of that heartwood. I don't mind the thickness of that. It'll get a little bit smaller as we clean it up. And this is going to always look bigger because it's on that angle, so that's probably not bad either. We'll just keep nibbling away at it, and it's almost time to turn and start going inward, so let's do a little bit of that. I might switch to a 5/8 for a little while. This is very hard wood and kind of reaching out, and I see I have a crack right there. Okay, I just sharpened up my 5/8, and we'll see what this crack's going to do here in a second. Okay, oh, look at this. Got a black stripe running across there. I sure hope that stays. Alright, I'm going to work on this wall a little bit because it's almost there. And as long as I have that support there, it'll turn better. I feel like I should see how much material we have here. Alright, fact of it is I have a recess, so I probably have 5/8 material there, so you take 3/8 off, should be good. Looks like I'm losing that little black line. Okay, I think we'll just keep cutting until we take another 3/8 off of this. That's it. I hope it's not too much, but I don't think it is. It's really, really close. I was having too much fun cutting there. Alright, let's get this smoothed up here, and we'll remove that. I think it'll be time to do a little bit of sanding. Now, because of that crack, I think I'll switch to the scraper here. I think it's time to get a burr on it. I'll be right back. Alright, let's try this out. Well, I think it is time to sand. Okay, we're ready to sand, and it is really quite smooth right now. That scraper did a fine job. So I'll start with 120 grit and sand up to 400. This time we'll have the lathe running forward at probably about 300. Okay, I'm going to get the dust collector going and get it sanded up. Come back and get a coat of sealer on there. Alright, I think you can see this pretty good. It already looks like it has finish on it. After sanding to 400, I went over it with the gray Scotch-Brite in my drill, and it's just as smooth as can be. So let's see what it looks like with that sealer on there. Yeah, I think it looks pretty nice. What do you think? Cracks and all. I think it looks great. Alright, that went on pretty easy. So it'll dry fast. I'll get another coat of that on there, and later this afternoon I'll put the shellac on it. And then I'll see you when we're all done. So olive wood is a very special wood, and here's why. Just look at those beautiful colors and the contrast between the heartwood and the sapwood. It's just pretty amazing. And it's got so much interest in here with the black line going in between the heartwood and the sapwood. That's pretty cool. It's got it on the ends as well, and pretty much all the way down. The bark is really cool. It's kind of rugged feeling, but it looks great. I did lose a piece of bark, but I waited till the end and kind of dug around. I don't think I found the right one, but the way this is, I put a piece in there and it looked great, so I glued it down. Mostly I think it's because it's rugged, you can almost do anything you want there. Finished 7 inches by 6 1/4, 3 inches tall, and the walls are about 5/16 thick. And I think the base is about 1/4 down in that recessed area. And there's the bottom of it, which is pretty amazing looking too, which is actually part of the outside, of course. I used 2 coats of the Zinsser seal coat, which is a sanding sealer, 2 coats of the Zinsser shellac, and then I went over it with the accent sanding paste to get this finish. So olive wood is always a lot of fun to turn for me, and a special thanks to Dennis for supplying this piece of wood. I know I sure love turning it, and I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. I really do hope you enjoyed the video, and I appreciate you watching. I think it's pretty cool, and let me know what you think in the comments. Please enjoy the rest of the turntable show. So, till the next time, see you later.